Botswana, a haven for Africa's endangered species. When it comes to protecting Africa's endangered wildlife, this southern African landlocked country leads the conservation pack and is the first choice for many African wildlife safari connoisseurs. With a broad range of habitats, Botswana offers varied safari experiences.
Botswana is a country that is well renowned internationally for having conserved our wildlife. This is a country that has set aside more than 40% of the land mass for wildlife conservation, and we have got a number of endangered species that are found in the country, including, of course, the rhino.
Up to 100 rhinos were moved from South Africa across the border to Botswana's remote wilderness in an attempt to put them beyond the reach of rampant poaching in that country. The government of Botswana did this because translocations are fundamental to secure the ongoing survival of endangered species, and this groundbreaking project aims to protect the species for future generations to enjoy.
In recent years, we have seen what has happened with elephants and rhinos in this region. We have seen this attention that has been on these neighboring countries now being diverted to Botswana, to the point where we are sitting now at around 56 rhinos that have been poached over the past 2 years.
This situation has resulted in the decline of rhino numbers. It is therefore necessary to implement measures that will counter poaching opportunities. One such measure is the dehorning exercise in the Okavango Delta.
Well, a decision was taken to implement measures to protect our rhinos so that we could combat this, the poaching of these animals.
Dehorning of rhinos does not hurt the animal. What we do, it's a procedure that is really equivalent to cutting nails in perspective of humans. So what we do is we preserve the growth plate of the horn, and we cut the horn where there is actually dead material. So in other words, there is no sensitivity within the area that we are cutting, and there is also no blood supply within that area. This is not definitely something that has been started by Botswana government. Our neighbors and some of the countries in the region have definitely undertook such an initiative when they were faced with challenges of poaching in the past. It has been a very lengthy operation for a number of reasons. One, the area that we have to cover is quite huge. So we planned to move from one point to the other, based on the animal densities that we are doing per area. When we planned this operation, the plan was during the time when the delta was relatively dry. And as we started the operation, it became very apparent that the rate of water inflow began to increase quite rapidly. That on its own meant a lot of challenges to try and adapt to this now very wet terrain. And as a result, we are now forced to operate in certain areas where there is no accessibility by vehicle, and the operation becomes entirely air-based. But even with that, we had been able to contain the situation and still reach animals that are within these islands and very wet areas. We also, as part of our plan of monitoring, obviously ensure that we want to collect as much data as we can. That will help us understand the population dynamics, the distribution and the range of these animals as they forage normally. And those are some of the important monitoring aspects that we collect during the operation.
Rhinos, because of their size, they are not easy prey for predators. There isn't really a threat to them after this procedure, as the only threat might just come from other black rhinos. as white rhinos are not really very aggressive animals.
We have a unit here called the anti-poaching unit, whose duty is to fight this poaching. But we also have the other government agencies that are helping with fighting poaching, like the BDF, the police, the DIS, the prisons. They are all involved in fighting poaching in this country.
It has been a very good relationship. It has been a very good relationship, especially that our organizations have all demonstrated professionalism in the execution of this task at hand. We do meet on weekly basis here in Gaborone as law enforcement agencies to get the feedback as to what is happening on the ground. And actually on the ground also, they meet almost on daily basis, but they have set dates where they all meet and compare notes and discuss the challenges that they face on daily basis on the ground.
In conclusion, I can thank all the participating departments as well as the government of Botswana for taking that decision to dehorn these animals, because we have been experiencing a very high numbers of poachers coming to our side and killing these animals.
We expect to see the result, as I have indicated. It is meant to disincentivize. So in other words, we are removing a big chunk of the horn. And secondly, this does not in any way replace any of our anti-poaching strategies that we put in place. In fact, we actually up our anti-poaching operations and augment them further to make sure that any perpetrators that come in addition to them not being able to get away with a significant amount of horn, they are also actually brought to book.
As part of the operation, it is important that the public is informed about this exercise and ensure that the message that rhinos have been dehorned is widely disseminated.
My message is from locals: we need to work together and try our best to save this species, because if we let the poachers going to wipe all these animals, our new generations, they're not going to know anything about rhinos. So it's going to be like, in history used to be a rhinos. The message to the community: we mustn't let these poachers to come and take or still take sweets in our hands. So we need to work hand in hand. If they come across by someone or they suspect someone, they don't understand him, try to bribe them. So they must communicate with the wildlife department or Botswana Defence Force or police so that we can go and arrest those people.
These rhinos are a natural resource that is part of our heritage, and we therefore encourage communities to benefit from the wildlife resource through tourism and other wildlife utilization schemes. So it is important that we conserve our wildlife for posterity.